A $34 bottle of neem oil and a $1 splash of plain vegetable oil will kill the same garden pests the exact same way. One of them has a brand name, a cult following, and a place of honor on every gardening channel on the internet. The bugs on your plants cannot read the label. They have no idea which bottle you used. They respond to one thing, being coated in oil until they cannot breathe. And that smothering costs almost nothing when you buy the oil by the name in your own kitchen instead of the name printed on the garden store shelf. Here's what you walk away with today: the single cheap liquid that smothers soft-bodied pests just as well as the expensive bottle for a fraction of the price. The exact recipe and the one rule in between that decides whether it kills your bugs or scorches your plants brown in an afternoon. And the most recommended natural pesticide on the entire internet, the one half your gardening friends swear by, that may not be doing what everyone thinks it does. And I will show you exactly why with the simple science of how an oil spray actually kills a bug. Let us start with that science because it is the whole secret. Soft-bodied garden pests, aphids, mites, whiteflies, mealybugs, the small ones that cluster on your new growth, do not breathe the way you do. They take in air through tiny holes along the sides of their bodies, coat those holes with oil, and the holes seal shut. The insect cannot take in air, it suffocates. That is the entire mechanism behind every oil-based pest spray on the market. It is not poison, it is not a chemical reaction. It is a physical coating that smothers the bug. Any oil that spreads evenly across a leaf and clings to a soft insect long enough will do it. Expensive oil, cheap oil. The bug cannot tell the difference because there is no difference to tell. Hold on to that fact, because it is the key that unlocks everything else in this video. Once you understand that the killing power is in the smothering and not in some magic ingredient, the whole pricing of the garden store shelf stops making sense. If a $1 oil and a $34 oil both suffocate the same bug the same way, then every extra dollar you spend on the expensive bottle is buying you something other than dead pests. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what that something is and why it is not worth a single cent of your money. That brings us straight to the most popular natural pesticide on the internet, and the hard questions nobody asks about it: neem oil. Search how to deal with garden pests naturally, and within minutes someone will tell you to mix up a neem oil spray. It has built a following so devoted that questioning it can feel like questioning a religion. So let me be fair and careful here, because this matters. Neem oil comes from the seeds of the neem tree, and it contains a natural compound that gets all the credit for its pest-fighting power. Here is the first uncomfortable problem. If you ask 3 different gardeners how neem oil actually works, you will get 3 different answers. One will tell you it repels the insects so they stay away. The second will tell you the bugs have to eat the coated leaves, and over time it ruins their digestion. The third will tell you they have to consume it, and it destroys their ability to reproduce. 3 people, 3 completely different explanations for the same bottle. And there is a real shortage of solid, controlled studies showing that the neem compound, on its own, actually reduces a pest population in a real garden the way the label promises. Now here's the second problem, and it is the one that quietly gives the game away. Every homemade neem oil recipe tells you the same critical step. You must mix the neem oil with a few drops of dish soap, or it will not work. The soap is there to break the oil into tiny droplets, so it blends into the water instead of floating on top. Sounds reasonable. But think about what that means. Dish soap mixed in water is itself a proven contact killer of soft-bodied insects. It strips the protective coating off their bodies, and they die. So if your neem spray is really neem oil plus dish soap plus water, and the dish soap alone already kills soft-bodied pests, then how do you actually know it was the neem doing the work? You do not. You cannot. The one ingredient everyone agrees you must add is the one ingredient that already does the job by itself. And here's the part that should make you a little angry. Even if we give neem the full benefit of the doubt and say its real value is as a smothering oil, coating the bugs and suffocating them, it is one of the most expensive ways possible to do that. Let us do the actual math, because the numbers tell the whole story. A bottle of plain vegetable oil from the grocery store runs you around $10 a gallon. Cold-pressed neem oil, the kind the recipes call for, can run many times that per gallon as a raw product. Even bought in a smaller bottle, neem ends up costing you far more per batch of finished spray than the pantry oil does. You are not paying that premium for a better kill. The smothering action is identical. Oil is oil to a suffocating aphid. You're paying the premium for a name, a smell, and a long list of side effects you would never knowingly choose. Strip away the brand and the cult following, and what you're left with is an expensive oil that does the same physical job as a cheap oil, plus 3 problems the cheap oil does not have. Think about what that means across a whole season of gardening. A gardener fighting pests through a long summer might spray a dozen times or more. Every one of those sprays done with neem costs several times what it would cost with the oil already in the kitchen. Multiply that across the season, across the years, and you have spent a small fortune on a bottle whose main claim, that the Neem compound itself reliably wipes out your pests, lacks the solid, controlled studies you would expect for something so widely trusted. The bug being suffocated does not care what the oil cost you. Only the bottle's maker cares, and they care very much. So let me give you the cheap version that does the same job. The recipe is simple. Take 2 cups of plain vegetable oil and 2 tablespoons of mild liquid dish soap, and shake them together hard until they combine into a milky concentrate. That is your base. When you are ready to spray, mix 2 tablespoons of that, concentrate into a quart of water, shake it well, and pour it into a spray bottle. That is the whole thing. A batch costs around $1 in oil and a few cents of soap, and it does the 2 things that kill soft-bodied pests. The soap strips them and the oil smothers them, without a $34 bottle and without the problems that come with Neem. Because Neem has problems, and this is the part the gardening internet tends to skip. Before I give you the one rule that makes the cheap spray work, you need to understand the 3 side effects that made a lot of experienced gardeners quietly walk away from neem oil for good. The first side effect is sunburn. Neem oil leaves a thick, heavy coating on the leaf. When the temperature climbs above roughly 80 to 85 degrees, that oily coating reacts with the sun and burns the plant. Because if you are willing to step 1 inch beyond your kitchen, there are 2 natural pest killers that cost less than neem and actually have a track record you can watch with your own eyes. The first is spinosad. Spinosad is made from a natural soil bacteria, and you spray it on the leaves to coat them. Here's the beautiful part of how it works. The only insects that get a real dose are the ones actually eating your plants, the bad bugs. When a pest chews a leaf coated in spinosad, it takes in the bacteria wrecks its insides, and within a day or 2, it is dead. You will walk out the next morning and find the ground littered with the pests that were destroying your crop. And because a bee drinks nectar and does not chew your leaves, and a ladybug hunts other bugs instead of eating your plants, spinosad is considered very low risk to your pollinators and your good bugs. It hits the leaf eaters and spares the helpers. It works on cabbage worms, hornworms, leaf miners, thrips, caterpillars of all kinds, and unlike neem, you can actually see it working. The second is pyrethrin. Pyrethrin is a natural extract from the chrysanthemum flower, and it is a fast, powerful nerve toxin to insects. It kills on contact, often within seconds for small pests. But it comes with one honest catch that you must respect, because pyrethrin does not know a pest from a pollinator. Sprayed directly on a bee, it will kill the bee. So here's how you use it safely, and this is the rule that makes it work. You spray it at night, after the sun has gone down and the pollinators have left for the day. Most of the worst garden pests come out at night, so a night spray hits them at their most active. And pyrethrin breaks down fast. It has a very short, unstable life in sunlight, so by the time the sun comes up the next morning, it is largely burned off and the garden is safe for the bees to return. Spray after dark, hit the night pests, and let the morning sun clear it before the pollinators come back. Done that way, it is both deadly to your pests and safe for your hive. And here's the bonus that costs almost nothing and beats every spray on this list, including the cheap one. The best pest spray is the one you never have to use. Before you reach for any bottle, cover your vulnerable plants with insect netting or a lightweight row cover. A simple physical barrier draped over your crop can stop the overwhelming majority of your pest problems before they ever begin, because the bugs and the egg-laying adults simply cannot reach the plant. Spraying anything, even free kitchen oil, takes time and effort and has to be repeated after every rain and every new hatch. A barrier just sits there and works, day and night, without you lifting a finger once it is in place. So the smartest order of operations is this: cover what you can to prevent the problem entirely. For what slips through, reach for the dollar oil spray or the spinosad. Save the pyrethrin for a serious outbreak and use it only at night. Most gardeners do this exactly backwards. They spray first and never think about barriers at all, which is why they spend the whole summer spraying. That is the whole system, and look at what it gives you. The cheap oil spray that smothers soft-bodied pests for $1, the same way the $34 bottle does, without the sunburn, without the foul smell, and without ruining the taste of your food. Spinosad for the leaf eaters, deadly to the pests and gentle on the bees. Pyrethrin for the worst nights, sprayed after dark so the pollinators are spared. And a simple row cover doing the heavy lifting for free, so you barely have to spray at all. None of this is a secret formula. None of it can be patented, branded, or sold to you at a premium, which is exactly why none of it gets the marketing budget that the Neem bottle gets. The dollar oil is in your pantry. The bug does not care what you paid. And the gardening internet built a small fortune of brand loyalty around a bottle that smells terrible, burns your plants in the heat, coats your food, and may owe most of its results to the few drops of dish soap you were told to add anyway. One honest note before you go, because I will always give you the full picture. If you have used neem oil for years and you genuinely believe it works in your garden, I'm not here to tell you to throw it out. If it is working for you, stay the course. I'm only sharing what the numbers and the experience actually show. That you have cheaper, easier, and often more reliable options sitting in your kitchen and at any farm store. Your garden does not need the $34 bottle. It never did. It needs $1 of oil, a drop of soap, the right time of day, and a little common sense about which bug you're fighting. Feed your garden that, and you will grow the healthiest plants on the street for the price of a coffee, while the bottle that promised the same thing sits on the shelf asking 30 times more for a coating you can mix in your own kitchen. Share this with the one neighbor who still hauls home the expensive bottle every spring.